Alright guys, TechCrabbit here again today, and this off-season has been rife with news and things to talk about. Yesterday we got a huge announcement from Adam Apicella and a lot of guys at MLG, announcing what's going to be going on with LMGs, what am I on about? MLG's future and their future themselves. Some very interesting stuff, some stuff that's definitely worth covering, as these guys of course have played a huge part in the progression of Call of Duty. I'm sure I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a lot of these guys. Not like I wouldn't be alive, I wouldn't be here doing these videos. I'm sure a lot of you guys wouldn't be following the Call of Duty competitive scene if it wasn't for a lot of these guys, so definitely worth discussing. Huge implications, really. A lot of people may have seen this coming if you'd have looked at Adam Apicella's tweets over the last month or so. Also, a job posting went up on Hitmarker Esports a little bit ago for like a content events manager, basically, for the CDL or the CWL, whatever they call it, exactly that job posting, which is effectively Adam Apicella's role. So a lot of people were like, okay, what's going on here? So we're going to get into that today. Like, if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. Leave your thoughts down below, as I'm sure you will. One thing to mention here, this was tweeted out several days ago now, the 23rd of August. Mystic Lake Casino says professional esports is coming to Minnesota. Get an exclusive update at Player Up when the COO of the new MN COD team, whatever, takes to the stage at 11:15 a.m. Saturday, the 31st of August. So this should have already happened by the time this video is going live, which means I'll probably end up covering whatever comes out tomorrow. But unfortunately, that's how the timing works nowadays in making these videos. It just is how it is. So anyway, this is pretty interesting. I guess we'll see the conclusion of that in tomorrow's video, I guess. A couple of other things to mention then before we get beginning. Intel Call of Duty tweets out the following. These are the cities that have not yet invested or have not been picked up for Call of Duty, but are being invested in the Overwatch League. So some pretty interesting ones here. Boston, San Francisco, London is a big one that hasn't gone yet. Seoul, Gen.G have that. Philadelphia, Vancouver, Washington, Houston, and doesn't include, teams in Asia as well, apart from the Seoul Dynasty, of course, which is Gen.G. So some interesting stuff to consider there. This is another thing I wanted to run past you before we begin the video, really. Infinity Ward devs are unsure if ranked play will be available at launch. I'll play the clip for you guys now.
So Connor Lelef in the GI comments, will ranked play be available at launch?
I don't know about that one. That's something that is really important to us. And we're working on, but as we're finishing up the game, we're figuring out what's on and what's not. We have a pretty aggressive live, launch, post-launch plan. Mm-hmm. That's stuff. We have a bunch of pieces that we can play with, but we don't know what's going to be on yet.
So this is something which is typical. It's kind of funny, really, how we're franchising this year in Call of Duty, but yet still it doesn't seem like we're going to get a ranked play at launch. If they're already saying it's like, ooh, I'm not sure we can do that, then very unlikely to happen. Honestly, not the end of the world if it doesn't come at launch. Because Black Ops 4, it came, in February? So 4 or 5 months after launch, which is pretty tragic. This time, hopefully, if they can get it within a couple of weeks, within a month, then we might be talking. Of course, the CDL doesn't actually start until 2020, so there's not even going to be any events until 2020, so, I'm kind of want to give these guys the benefit of the doubt, but it's still kind of funny how it works out, isn't it? And to see how much competitive Call of Duty is on the back burner of the games, especially when we're franchising. So it's very interesting, but I thought I'd run that guy past you. So here we go. Chris Puckett tweets this out yesterday. MLG Puckett, of course, now working at the Overwatch League, but it's been an incredible journey for him. Former MLG caster, I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Puckett is. Today marks the end of the MLG era for me. 16 years and hundreds of events later, the last of the founding family are stepping away. Thank you to everyone who poured their hearts into making esports what it is today. I will never forget where we started and what we built. So, MLG tattoo right here, and he quotes Adam Apicella's tweet from a while ago. I'll just bring this one up for you. This is a little plaque of all of the MLG events that they did. And when I saw him tweet this out earlier this month, I was like, okay, this may be an indication of things to come for MLG. Because if you're making a little plaque of all the events you've done, obviously up to the Call of Duty World League, Championship 2019, why would you have not made this last year or the year before? Maybe he did, right? But just seeing this tweeted out kind of said to me, all right, maybe this might be the end or whatever for MLG. or at least the current crop of guys that are at MLG. Not sure exactly what's going to happen with MLG, haven't had an official announcement, I believe, from their Twitter account. As you can see right here, nothing's really been said about it on the MLG Twitter, just talking about Overwatch League playoffs, and then 26th of August was the last one, so, nothing said on their Twitter, so difficult to see exactly what's going to happen, but, just to follow up from this tweet, to avoid any confusion, I've been a freelancer for 2 years now, but many of the legends that we were still at the MLG headquarters are working their final day today, and JP Krez, thanks for everything, Chris. You've changed my life, of course. JP did a great tweet that I might as well bring up while I'm going through this little story. But, we know that JP just last week or whatever was announced to be the analyst for the New York City Call of Duty spot for the next year in the franchise league. So this is the tweet I was mentioning. I visited the MLG New York City office in winter 2014 as a freshman, thinking I was just getting a tour. Ended up interning under Puckett and then helping the COD broadcast under Cyanide and Mr. Adam Apicella. Forever grateful for the opportunity to work with this incredible MLG team. So that kind of makes sense why we've seen JP move now into this analyst role, and it was kind of surprising I saw that because he's worked with MLG as their premier analyst or whatever for many years now, and now he's moved on, and I was like, okay, exactly what's going on here. Maybe that explains some of it. Let's move on to this tweet from Fwiz then. Before the COD Esports glitz and glam, there was reffing Halo stations and commentating COD 4 tournaments from my bedroom, trying to build the COD Esports dream as the OG MLG team departs today. I want to say thank you to some of the fondest memories in my career thus far. Of course, Fwiz, he's gone on to become the global head of gaming and VR at YouTube, so he's balling out of control. Of course, he started way back in the Call of Duty days. I'm sure some of you guys, some of you OGs will remember Fwiz from back in the Black Ops 2 days, especially in Ghosts and the like. It's just an incredible set of announcements. And here we go then, this tweet from Adam Apicella, if it'll load in just a second. This is the thread he does, which pretty much sums up the entire situation. So MLG not necessarily is over. I don't know exactly what's going to be going on with MLG, but it does seem quite clear just to mention now that, of course, MLG has run the event for the last X amount of years of Call of Duty, pretty much have built it, especially guys like Adam have built it from the ground up, and the scene would not be the same without these guys by any means. It may not even exist to anywhere near the same degree. So obviously an incredible amount of work done by these guys, especially that Adam puts in this Twitter and in this tweet, but of course, going into franchising, it seems that Activision do not want MLG or do not need MLG to run the events, because Activision owns MLG, and in the past they've had MLG run the events for them. Apart from London this year, which was run by Gfinity, MLG can outsource and the stuff like that, but it seems like next year, Activision are going to be running the CDL under their own steam, under their own, with their own people involved rather than MLG. Which means that a lot of the MLG guys have been like, well, it's time to go and explore other opportunities. So effectively, RIP to the MLG as we know it. So put it that way, I would say. So Adam Apicella and a lot of these guys are moving on. The industry is lucky to have you. The time at Activision Blizzard was a great experience. Thanks to all these people. Be nice to those trying to build something new and great. Change can be good. Help them. And even though I've decided to leave, I love Call of Duty. I love the scene and I love the players. I'd be thrilled to help in any way I can. My line is always open. Lastly, and most importantly, to my MLG family of current and former staff, event contractors, players and community members, I would rather walk amongst you than stand in any boardroom. Never let them forget how important you are. Corny Troy's quote aside, thank you for giving me this life. So, some pretty emotional stuff going on the last few days. I'm not done. I'll be sharing what I'm doing next very soon, but I'll be running more events and building more programs with my team. Many of you know how to reach me if you need me, but if you want to, just drop a line. Any links is linked in here. Another tweet from Adam Apicella. Also, this isn't a damn funeral. I'm leaving to do more epic things in this industry. I love all of you. Thank you. One final tweet here then, because Charlie Intel tweeted out the following. Activision Blizzard has stated they're officially closing the MLG arena in Columbus as the Call of Duty 2020 League moves to a home and away format. This honestly is pretty big news. Let me bring up this there's a couple of things here. So this is what was talked about at Adam Apicella in an Esports Observer article, which I will link down below if you guys want to check it out. His departure comes after the final event. Apicella was the first employee hired by MLG following its founding in 2003. He rose from VP of League Operations to Executive VP of MLG Properties. This is more of his story. Adam Apicella tweeted that he'll share details of his next opportunity soon, and he'll be running more events and building more programs as we just talked about. So Chris Buggett said the following, and then we of course have have this. This was from a Charlie Intel article which quoted this Esports Observer stuff. MLG Arena was essential to the production of weeks of CSGO Pro League play. So the MLG Arena in Columbus, that's where all the Pro Leagues happens this season. The evolution to a home and away format for events during the 2020 Call of Duty Esports season means the MLG Arena is no longer required. Therefore, we're respectfully closing the production facility. All employees were made aware of this decision and were given the opportunity to pursue open roles with relocation assistance throughout the company. So that pretty much came from Activision. And, you know, just to go back to this tweet, so that's what Charlie Intel goes on to. Adam Apicella says this: don't read too much into this. Nothing nefarious happened. The studio was going to go unused with a new model and with me leaving. It will always be a cool thing we built in 2015 with zero budget, but franchising will be home and away. I'm good, the team is good, and so is COD. So, you know, that pretty much is the final word from Adam. He also says the following: PS for those chasing esports dreams. I grew up in a tiny village on the Ohio River. I'd never been on a flight before the age of 22, and now I've seen the world. If you want it, take it. So, you know, pretty inspiring stuff from Adam. When you see this guy in real life, you know that this guy is the boss. Like he is absolutely jacked, and yeah, he's a real great role model. Let's put it that way. So MLG Sundance, one of the old legends, tweets out the following. So he's out the door, and the same thing with Rami Shiro. So today was my last day in Activision MLG. All of the fantastic people I worked with, the programs we designed, and all the players will hold a special place in my heart. 13 years since my first event, and I cannot begin to quantify the impact MLG has had on my life. Call of Duty especially. I've seen the esport grow from humble beginnings. I have no doubt of its future success. It's full of superstars. To the players, thank you. I've known some of you for 10 years. With every passing year, I've enjoyed getting to know more and more of you. We always tried to make time to listen to, talk to, and learn from you guys. Forever grateful. With that being said, I'm excited for the future. So, of course, this is the question: why are all these guys leaving? I think the obvious answer is that the CWL and Activision have decided, well, we don't need MLG anymore to run our events, because if they still decided they were going to keep the MLG team on to run the CWL, then I can't see a reason why the entire MLG team is going to be leaving. I'm sure a lot of this has stemmed from Adam Apicella's decision to leave. They've been the legendary team for a long time. If Adam Apicella's decided, well, maybe I want to pursue bigger and better things, maybe that's another way this has gone. I don't know whether MLG will still be used to run the CWL, whether Activision Blizzard will put a load of their people into MLG and still have that as the organization that technically runs things. But of course, it's going to be a very different scene. And maybe a lot of these guys are just following Adam to whatever he's going on to work on now, which of course we don't know what that is, but we'd be very excited to find out, and I'm sure we will in the coming days. So, interesting situation, of course. Adam Apicella having done these tweets, like he said, he did a tweet a while ago saying, "What a kick in the teeth," something like that. A lot of people related that to Activision deciding, well, we don't need your services anymore involved in the CWL or in the CDL next season. Of course, he's been very respectful and the like. He hasn't implied any of that on Twitter, but that's something that's maybe lingering behind the scenes that I thought I should make you guys aware of. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you are new as always. Definitely a big change of situations here going forwards, and yeah, the MLG studio in Columbus will close. Of course, what that means is we're going to have home and away, which maybe I didn't even touch on enough in this video, so I'll go back into it now. The home and away format is something I did mention in a few videos ago, maybe a few weeks ago now, but this is incredibly interesting stuff. Like you're expecting players to fly across the country to play single tournament matches or single league matches. Like, that can't be the case, surely. Hopefully they're going to do it in a way where they fly teams out to drive, whatever the case may be, to the different city, and then they all play matches there in that city, rather than it just being the home team. But if they're going for a home and away format, that's not really how it works, and you can't really fly across every single team out to, like, I don't know, let's say you flew every league team out to Paris, and then what are you going to do? The Paris team is going to play every other team, so you get 11 matches, but the other teams that are out there, they only play one match. The Paris team has to play 12 matches, or 11 matches, that can't work. Surely they must fly them out and have all the teams play against each other. That's the only way it seems to make logistical sense. But maybe Activision knows more than me, which I'm sure they do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.